It seems like we finally have a date for Travis Scott's new album, Utopia, and that day is going to be July 28th. So if you want to come join us and our full Patreon community to come listen to this new album, check the pinned comment to our Patreon. We're going to be live streaming the album with you guys when it does drop. But Lou, how do you feel about this, man? Finally, 5 years in the making, and it seems like it's coming.
Bro, after such a long wait and so much time spent starving, we finally have a release date for this album, and I can't wait for the day to be able to ride through my city, have the windows down, and blast Utopia, and it looks like we're finally gonna get that. But let's go through all these updates because it's fucking exciting, man.
It's been
starting
exciting.
off with the most exciting one, the new post that confirmed a live stream in the pyramids in Egypt on July 28th. And first of all, that's a major flex to be debuting your album in one of the 7 wonders of the fucking world.
That's pretty crazy.
It's pretty mind-blowing, and he is saying that it is an album launch party and that he will be live streaming the event on the 28th, which leads us to believe that he is dropping the album on the 28th as well. Do you think there's any chance that it doesn't drop on that day?
No. If it's the launch date, I mean, that's literally the launch date. It means it's coming out.
But if you look at the billboards and the combination to the briefcase on those billboards, it did say 7/21. So maybe he drops a week before and then puts out the album.
You're trying to spoil the party for everyone.
I want to get this thing as soon as we can, man. We've been waiting so long. I just can't wait to have our ears on this album because I feel like this could be a generational album, or it could be one of the most disappointing, because either way the pressure is on. But let's go through some other updates that we have.
Yes,
so
sir.
He posted 3 videos on his Instagram from 3 different places in the world. One from Houston, Texas, one from Mirval, France, and the other one from Malibu, California. Let's start off with the one from Houston, Texas. You see Travis Scott seemingly in a church as a choir boy,
yes,
singing along to a song. So pretty cool to see young Travis.
It was nice because it kind of gives you background and context maybe to where this album is going to go. And he was also speaking about maybe what his motives were when he was a child within Houston. He was saying that there wasn't much around him and that, you know, everything that he had built up towards had to come from his imagination.
He needed to be a trailblazer in the scene.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I really like that. But take us to France.
Then we have Mirval, France, where you actually see Travis Scott working on his laptop. It seems like he's engineering or producing some beats, and he's just talking about how he's recorded the last 2 albums that he's put out, and he was just being excited about actually being back at the helm of his production. And that's something that he's already teased months ago, that he would be producing a lot of songs on this album, which is exciting because, I mean, Travis Scott started off as a producer in the industry when he had his big blow up, though. So to see him return to his roots for this thing is really cool. But how did you feel about seeing him link up with the legendary Rick Rubin for Malibu, California?
Oh, it's going to be crazy. Listen, I mean, not everything Rick Rubin has touched in his lifetime has gone gold. I mean,
but that guy has the magic here.
Absolutely. And you hear the compliments that he was giving Travis Scott on certain tracks and giving his critiques on there. So it's also nice to see that Rick Rubin had some sort of a say within the production of this album. I also like the fact that he's taking you through the entire creative process and letting you know what went down behind the creation of Utopia, because I think for us fans, for a while, you know, we were left in the dark wondering, where was this going to go sonically? How was it going to be able to be upgraded from Astroworld? Was there going to be room for improvement? Was it going to be maybe the longer album that we expected because of the Mike Dean teasing? And now it seems like he's finally putting all the pieces together and we could get a good image of what this album might be sounding like.
Yeah.
And even going into this next week, let's say, right? What else is going to be coming after this? Do we get a track list? Do we get features? Do we get something else? Because there was also something cool. I'm not sure if you guys saw this, but on Travis Scott's website, there was actually merchandise bundles that you guys were going to be able to access. Apparently, there's going to be 5 different alternative covers for vinyl purchase, which is going to absolutely blow these numbers out of the water.
Bro, like he's shooting high for those first week sales,
okay,
man.
because Fagella put the tweet out, and then after that, if you go into our sub-thread on there, there's someone that had already ordered like all 5 of them plus the merchandise, so you already know Travis Scott fans are going to be on that.
Yeah, and it's pretty crazy because you do have some pretty cool shirts. You have some caps that are included within this bundle deal. And yeah, if you take a look at it, pretty cool stuff. Obviously, all the vinyls are blank right now. We don't know what those covers are going to be like, but this is what it looks like for the most part. It's pretty interesting. And there's also the Utopia box that's included, which I'm assuming holds the album. I don't know what the fuck else it could
Maybe
include.
It's the briefcase. I don't know.
But yeah,
like
it's
that.
cool to know that Travis Scott is going to go for a major event when it comes to this album. And speaking about other things that transpired on his IG, you also got this apparent album cover, and the caption was actually titled Pyramids. So how would you feel? You have like these distorted faces or creatures that resemble Travis himself. If you look at like the braids.
Not only that, but I'm not sure if you see the writing. It almost spells out Utopia. Check the
It
writing at
does,
the
yeah.
bottom. So I
it's
mean,
a bit weird though. I wouldn't want this to be the cover, bro.
I'd
It's a
be
bit
okay. I'd be
goofy.
completely like, I'm okay with it. Absolutely, I don't care. Whatever
So
it
it
is,
could
it
be
is.
just like a Don the Black, pitch black cover, and
That
you'll,
was
you'll
cool.
take
I
it.
was just as excited for the album. I mean,
Fuck yeah.
I got pregnant woman emojis on a CLB cover, and I still listen to this album. But how do you feel? Okay, so now we're starting to get towards that mark. It feels like this is finally coming. You and I have been covering this rollout with the entire NFR community for maybe the better part of 3 years now since we've started the channel. So do you think the wait has been worth it, just as far as the rollout goes and how you've been led into this?
The rollout's been cool. I thought that it was a really cool way to reveal the features through the briefcases and all that stuff. I mean, we haven't seen too many people with the briefcases, but I do feel like the rollout was a bit drawn out in the sense of, you know, getting like almost 10 plus billboards, seeing the combination come out, and it's just, it lasted weeks, and I feel like it was building up to something, which is this, but I still feel like if you know Travis Scott, you know that he's going to keep his audience engaged until the day that it does come out. So I feel like that was all the pre-rollout until the real rollout, which is starting right now. I feel like we're going to get an album trailer because we do know that he's been shooting music videos all across the world in different countries. So I feel like that's going to be a big day once we do get that album trailer. I feel like we're also going to be getting, like you said, the track list, the features, maybe some inflatables like we got for Astroworld.
What's cool about the release of this as well is that, you know, you have the whole pyramid situation, right?
Yeah.
And then going into the pyramid situation, it gets you wondering, is it going to be, let's say, an exclusive live stream until you get the album on Spotify and Apple an hour and a half in later?
You think it's going to be like a Donda situation where like the live stream comes first, then you have to wait for the album? Like,
But you also had that for Kanye's Wyoming run, I believe, back in 2018, where he was using a third-party application. I believe it was Wave Radio to be able to live stream his albums before the release, and then you got the albums after. So I'm just wondering, is that going to be a situation, let's say, on the night of the 28th? Or does it go back to what you were saying, where maybe you get it on the 21st still because of the combination, and then after that, boom, you have your stuff?
Yeah.
Or this is another little theory, and I'm just going through like the rabbit hole right now. Maybe the 21s and the 7s allude to the 28th.
it could be, yeah, because you have, I think it was what, like 07, 21, and then another one after that. So maybe it's like 0721 plus an extra week. I don't fucking know.
I have no idea.
But at this point, from what we do know, it does look like the most likely scenario is for the album to come out midnight the 28th, and then he does the live stream in Egypt and performs all the songs for the first time with this major, broadcast for the album. What could be cool too is like if he would be bringing out different features that are on the album, get people performing with him. I feel like that's a big possibility as well. But just think about how crazy that fucking stage design is going to be, and even just the atmosphere, seeing the pyramids behind him as he's performing. Like, it's going to be unreal, bro.
You know what also you could expect? Because we're going to be in Rolling Loud Miami for the weekend. I believe it's the, 21st to the 23rd, correct?
He might debut a single there or preview some new music. Do you think a single comes out before the album, though?
Well, that's a good question, because you do have the situation with Stargazing,
Yep.
but that wasn't released on DSPs. That was only the first half of the song, and it was released through a music video for Astroworld. And I think that he knows people want to hear official music, because regardless of all the snippets and Lost Forever, you don't really know what this album is going to sound like, or what the songs are going to be like on the actual album in itself. It's been very mysterious in that regard. So I think him playing out a scenario where you do get that single beforehand in these next couple of weeks would not only add to the anticipation, but if you have something that sticks, oh my goodness, the release night on the 28th would be absolutely
He's going to do
wild.
it. I think the single is like all but confirmed, bro.
Okay, and how do you feel about the aesthetic so far of the branding of the album and the roll-up? Because, going back to Astroworld, going back to Rodeo, Birds in the Trap, there's a certain mood and aesthetic that comes out throughout his albums, right? So
Yeah.
with the Astroworld stuff, it was very sunny. It was a lot of like rainbows, and it was like sort of this huge euphoric place, But with this sort of branding, you're seeing a lot of like the brown color tones, and you're seeing that sort of thing. So how do you like the branding for this roll-up?
I love the branding more than anything, what's within the message of the branding. Because if you look at this live stream post, the first line is Utopia is wherever you are. And I feel like that's going to play into like whatever the main message of the album is, where you can make your happy place wherever you're from, wherever parts you belong to. That's where Utopia is.
Yeah.
There's no, reaching the gates of Los Angeles or reaching a level of fame or a level of financial freedom that's going to get you there. It's really like how you make the best out of your circumstances. So I love that, there's a lot of questions about what this album's going to be like, and I feel like it is relating back to finding your own happiness within your own circumstances, so that's going to be beautiful to see. But in terms of the actual color palettes that we're seeing and a lot of the figurines on the merchandise and whatever else, it's a lot of like hazy alien-like, I would say, persons that we're seeing here, and that again makes me think that we're going to be taken into a totally different universe sonically, where Travis Scott is playing into another world once again, like he did with Astroworld. So
I think that's going to be a genius move in concept, even for him, because I think that's what his fans value the most, right? Is the world building, the experience that comes with it, being able to be there on release night and being able to be in the moment with it. So, how do you feel, man? You know, like,
is it going to live up to the hype? I feel like that's the question.
Yeah, you're finally there.
Like I said, I think that Travis Scott always innovates. He always gives you the best soundscapes that you could possibly ask for. And like I said, I think this is either going to be a generational album that ends up inspiring artists for another 10 years, the way that Astroworld was groundbreaking for the psychedelic hip-hop scene, or it ends up being one of the biggest disappointments, which I'm leaning more towards the first option. But what about you?
I'm totally on the first option. There's one thing that you cannot deny with Travis Scott, and that is his ear for music. This guy's
flawless track run.
Not only that, but he just has such an ear for production, and he understands how to craft a meticulous track list. There's never been filler on his albums. It's always been very precise. There's very few mid songs in his catalog as well. So you know that even if you do get a lengthier project, like an Astroworld wasn't a short album. It was over an hour listen, low key. And if you really like put that into context for the amount of quality you got, I hope to see that same thing transpire.
Okay, one more question for you though, and we're gonna get back to this probably the next time we do one of these update videos. And by the way, guys, subscribe if you do want to catch more updates and the latest news for Utopia. But first week sales prediction, just based after seeing these like bundles and all this hype, we gotta get to that. What do you think?
Who's usually more accurate with these? You are.
I feel like I'm a bit more accurate, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you sure?
Not to toot my own horn, but yeah, with like Donda, I believe I was closer to.
I was closer with her loss for myself.
Yeah,
I think I got her loss like perfectly.
I'm gonna say because of the merch bundles and just the anticipation, I'm leaning towards 400,000 copies first week.
Okay,
that's my whole number that I'm gonna lean towards. And keep in mind that a lot of the big boys, like an Uzi, they're underperforming on the Billboard charts. Even Kendrick only sold like what 295. Uzi just sold 165. Where does Travis fit?
Yeah, but you also have Future selling in the mid 200s.
Yeah,
you also have Lil Baby having his biggest debut ever.
Drake in 21 411, I believe. So what does Travis do?
I think he's going to go 480. 480 to 5 bills.
Wow.
480 to 5 bills.
It's going to be interesting to see if he matches the Astroworld hype. But guys, listen, if you do want to stay updated on all of these updates for Utopia, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We will be back with more coverage of this album. And as we said earlier, if you do want to catch our live album reaction on July 28th or whenever the album drops, if that's not the date, check out the link in the description or the pinned comment. Thank you guys for watching. Utopia season is among us, and we'll see you soon. Peace.